This video I'm going to try using Copilot in the free version of Visual Studio 2026 to generate code using different AI or artificial intelligence models. So I will go up and double click on the Visual Studio desktop shortcut I created and then click on Create a New Project after the options window pops up. Then I will select the Blazor Web App option and go down to click the Next button where it will ask for a project name and location, which I will leave set as it is by clicking Next again. And the only thing I will change for the next options is the configure for HTTPS. I will uncheck the box to use it and then go down and click the Create button, which will create the Blazor project. I don't need the overview page, so I will go up and close it, and then go over to expand the components and the pages folders to show the sample pages that already exist. Now I will go down to click on the GitHub Copilot chat tab and paste my request to create a simple member login for this project where it says Ask Copilot. And right next to the agent option, it will list all the models that I can use, so I will start out with the default GPT-5 mini model to see how well that does. So I'll click the Start Chat button, and the GPT model will begin to process my request, but after it reads the project, I will get a message that says an internal error occurred, see details below. And I can check the logs which contain the exception details and stack trace, but I'm going to skip those and go down to click on the Solution Explorer to see if I notice any additional project files. I don't see anything different from the last time I looked, so I'll go back over and click on the GitHub Copilot chat tab again and change the model over to Claude Haiku 4.5. Then I will paste the same request to create a simple member login for this project and go over and click Start Chat to begin processing with the Claude model instead of the GPT model. It will then start reading files to understand the project and then ask if I want to run Get Children in the terminal, where I will continue by clicking on the Confirm button. The Claude model will then go through and create new and modify existing pages to build a member login system for the current project. I tried this a couple other times the day before using both models with the same request, but I couldn't get either of them to build a working login system. GPT-5 Mini did go through and try to build one like Claude is doing now though, so I'm not sure why I'm getting an error today when I try with the same request. This video is only to show how to use Copilot in Visual Studio, so that is why I didn't explore the error. I just got trying to use GPT-5 Mini. So after Claude thinks it's done fulfilling my request, it will ask to build the solution to check for any errors, so I will click the Confirm button to give it permission to do so. Then once it gets notified that the build was successful, Claude will generate a summary about what all it did and give instructions on how to test the login system. I will go down to click on the Solution Explorer tab where I can see the project files, and then click on the newly generated README file to take a quick look at the information there. Everything that was generated by the AI model will be highlighted in green, and there will be two options at the bottom of the page to either keep or undo the Claude-generated code. So I will click the Keep option for this file, and the green highlight on everything will disappear, so this login README will now be part of the project. Now I'm going to go up and click on the HTTP to start the web app, and after it loads in Chrome, I can see that Claude added a couple of links to the login page. So I will click the one generated for the home page, and then go down and copy the username and password to paste into the login form fields, and then click the login button to see if the AI-generated code works. But nothing happens, so I will check for an error, and then go up to try to access the dashboard page, which just redirects me back to the login page, so there must be a problem with the authentication code. I will go over to close Chrome and also close the console. Then I will read through the instructions to see if I missed anything, but it says it should work, so I will go over to expand the services folder to click the authentication code. Then I will look through the code a bit to see if I can find the problem, but I remember that this isn't a video about how to code, it's about how to use Copilot to generate code, so I will go up to close all the tabs it opened. Next I will go over and down to click on the Copilot tab, and up to click on the Keep button for all the pages, since this is a project I created just to experiment with. So I'm curious if the web app will work after I keep all the code, so I will close all the pages that opened after clicking Keep, and then go up to click the HTTP button to start the project again. I will then try logging in again using the credentials it provides, but it still doesn't work, so I will close Chrome, and then go down to the Ask Copilot chat area to describe the problem and ask Claude to fix it. The model will then go through all the code again to look for a solution to the problem I described, so this seems to work similar to how generating AI media works. I might have to just keep prompting until I get what I want. So after analyzing some of the code on the main components, Claude claims to find the issue on the login page, so it will open it up and add the line of code highlighted in green that changes the render mode of the page. Then it will modify more code and ask me to build the solution to check for errors, so I will click on the Confirm button, and the build will fail, so it will fix the issue, and then ask me to build it again. So I will click on Confirm once more, and this time it will succeed, so Claude will create a notes file along with a summary in the chat about what it did. Then after it tells me the build is successful and ready to test, I will go up and click HTTP again to start the app and head over to the login page to try logging in again. And this time the login sends me to the dashboard, so I will go through the sample pages to see if they still work, and they do so. I'm quite impressed with how well Copilot and Claude process my request. The logout in the nav menu doesn't work properly, so I'll go over and click on the other logout button, which seems to work, so it's not perfect yet, but this makes it way easier to develop apps and learn to code. I do not have Copilot installed on my main development system because I'm not sure if it stores my code on a server, which I do not want, but I definitely plan to keep this system for when I need help writing code. So next I'm going to double click on the home page to show how else you can use Copilot to generate code for your project. So I will select the welcome header using my mouse and then right click on it to choose the chat option, where I will ask Copilot to make the header smaller and add a smiley face GIF below it. And to the right I can choose the model I want to use, which also has a manage option that will allow me to enter my API keys to use models from other providers. I'm going to continue to use the Claude Haiku 4.5 model though, so I will close the provider window and go back over to send my prompt to Copilot. The AI will process my request for a little bit, and then add the new code below the paragraph under the header, which I didn't want, but I can easily fix by moving the code in between. And I'm curious if it will show this new code before I accept it, so I will go up and click the HTTP button to start the project to see if it does. And after the page loads, I don't see the smiley face, so I will go down to click the Visual Studio icon so I can press the Tab key to accept the changes, and then go up to click the Hot Reload button. Then I will go back down to click on Chrome, and now I can see the smiley face, but I see it added a second header and made that one smaller, so that's not what I wanted. So I will go down to click on the Visual Studio icon, and then scroll over so I can select the 2 lines of code that Claude generated and cut them so I can paste over the header at the top so the paragraph is below it. And again, if I go down to click on Chrome, I will not see those changes until I switch back to Visual Studio and click the Hot Reload button, which will then show the changes I made to the code. Now, I haven't used Copilot for very long at all, but from what I've seen so far, I'm very excited about this technology evolving further. This will allow people to learn how to code a lot faster, which should mean more quality technology being developed. Hopefully this video has helped, and feel free to ask any questions that you still may have in the comments. Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe for more quick and on-point videos.